Now, as far as the actual module types themselves, so the RAM sticks, okay? I know, modules is, I guess, the official term, but a lot of people just talk about, having RAM sticks because they kind of look like sticks, right? Now, the original RAM sticks that we had were something called SIMMs, which stood for Single Inline Memory Module. And one of the interesting characteristics of a SIM is that you had to install them in pairs. Okay? So, back in the old days, when you were buying memory, if there were, let's say, 4 slots, right? 4 slots where you could install RAM on your motherboard, you really only were installing 2 pieces of memory. Okay? Because they had to work together. The pairs had to work together. Okay? And that's about when we had SIMs. But you'll notice that I have their big obsolete over the picture. We don't see SIMs anymore. That's kind of the old days. And the SIMs had to match, by the way. Okay, those 4 slots in the computer, they had to, well, in some cases, all 4 would have to match. And in today's world, we still see some of that where certain things have to match. But we used to have them all matching. But certainly, the pairs had to match. Okay, so you had to have 2 chips that were of the exact same size. And that's why they came in pairs. What we have in today's world is something called DIMMs, D-I-M-M, or Dual Inline Memory Modules. Okay, that's what today's memory sticks, memory modules, memory chips, whatever you want to call them, that's what they're called. They're called DIMMs. Okay, so that's what our SD-RAM, and then also we'll talk about in just a moment here, DDR. Okay, DDR2, DDR3. Okay, this stuff all comes in DIMMs. But before we get to that DDR stuff, and I will tell you the DDR stuff is what we most commonly see today, but before we get to that, let's talk about something called the SODIMM, which is the Small Outline Dual Inline Memory Module. And this is the type of DIMM that you would find in a laptop. Now, laptops weren't always this way. Okay, upgrading the amount of memory or adding memory to a laptop used to be a real challenge. Whereas now, they have actually come out with a more simplistic, more universal form factor, and most laptop manufacturers have made fairly easy access to the slots where you would add a SODIMM to upgrade the memory on your laptop. All right, so that's what a SODIMM is. Now, the one below it is an interesting one. There actually is a lot of interesting stuff we could talk about, and we won't talk about everything. But when we have Rambus memory, basically what happened was we needed to find a way to increase capacities and speeds of our SD-RAM. Because the processing technology, or I should say the processor technology, had gotten to a point where the memory became your bottleneck, and the memory couldn't keep up. And I will tell you that there was a lot of talk about Rambus being the future of memory. Okay? And Rambus is actually the name of a company. Rambus had come up with a design where we basically could now double the throughput on memory, and it was going to be RDRAM, right? So it was Rambus Dynamic RAM. They came on RIMMs, which, by the way, RIMM does not stand for anything. It just rhymes with SIMs and DIMMs. Okay, so it's Rambus's IM is what it really is. I guess it would be Rambus Inline Memory Module, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, that's what the name of those Rambus sticks were. And I have to tell you, the problem is, and we've seen this in a number of different places in technology, where we think, oh, that's going to be the future of computing. And it had the potential to be. But the problem is that there was a combination of delays in production as well as some significant cost increases. Okay, it was quite expensive to buy Rambus memory. And so basically, it didn't actually take off the way they thought it would be.